Time for another tag. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Zach with Zacks Books, and today I've got a mid-year book freakout tag for you. I know we are slightly beyond mid-year, but obviously a lot of things have been going on lately, and haven't really had quite the time to film it, so I am filming it now. I've also had like tough times really trying to pick the right books for the questions I have, and I've been going back and forth between a bunch, and it's been tough. I will also inform you that a lot of these books I have in like recent reads videos or weekly updates and stuff like that, so we will try and link as many as we can. So that way you can kind of get more in-depth synopsises and synopsize and stuff like that with more detail. I'm going to leave this slightly vague just because I don't want to give too much away with the books. Obviously a couple of them is like the main plot point I can't really talk about. We will also link all of these books down below, so in case you're intrigued with any of them, check them out. But yeah, otherwise, don't forget to drop a like, comment, subscribe, and let's get started with the first question. Alright, so for this video, I'm going to be using my phone for the questions, and obviously the stack of books for the answers. So the first one is, best book you've read so far in 2021. So this one's going to be in a recent reads, which we're going to have posted up here, because this is going to come out after that. So I'll go more in depth with that one, and I also did a top 5 books of the year so far. Check out that video up here as well, because this is also on that. So the best book I've read so far in 2021 has been Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This book it could have fallen in the biggest surprise category as well, but there's another book that I think kind of shocked me a little more. Because nobody's really talked about that book as much as this one. People have told me this is a really solid book, so I decided to read it. I did, gave it 5 stars, and again, I'll go more in-depth with it in my recent reads video, which is going to be out before this. So, yes, a 5-star book, best book of 2021 so far, Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Alright, question number 2. Best sequel you've read so far in 2021. So, this book is a sequel. However, I have not read the first one, so I'm including it. It's my list. That is Thomas Harris's The Silence of the Lambs. So this book was a 5-star read. I loved everything about this book. It was great. The movie was done pretty much just like it, and it followed very true, and I enjoyed every second of it. We did this in a classic horror showdown or something like that. It's been a little while since I have read this, and so we'll link that up here for you so I can, obviously you'll see more in-depth thoughts on it. But I gave this 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. It was beautiful, it was solid, and the character of Buffalo Bill was just eerie and just a good character. So there you have The Silence of the Lambs as the best sequel I've read in 2021. Alright, so the third question is, new release you haven't read yet but want to. So I've got plenty of books that could really fall into this category. Obviously, if you've seen the Come Shop With Me's, book hauls, all that stuff, you know that I buy plenty of new releases, and I'm excited for all of them. But this one stands out to me the most as of right now because it's an author that I have read and I've enjoyed everything I've read by her so far, and that is The Whispering Dead by Darcy Coates. So this came out in May. I actually got this as an ARC back in maybe March or April. I just have not really gotten to it yet, but since it's by Darcy Coates, I've loved everything I've read by her so far. I think I've read 2 or 3, and all of them have been 4.5 stars. I think there might have been a 5. So I really want to get to this, and hopefully I find the time soon. So, book I need to read, The Whispering Dead by Darcy Coates. Alright, so question number 4 is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So obviously, I don't have it, but it's Billy Summers by Stephen King. Obviously that was going to be on this list because it is coming out in August. I need to read everything Stephen King has written, and obviously Billy Summers is one I need to read. Honestly, the synopsis doesn't really sound like a King kind of book, to be honest. I think it's about an assassin who's got like one last job and something doesn't go right. Unless there's like a supernatural factor in it, it doesn't really sound like King to me. But obviously I'm going to give it a read, which I did talk about this in I think my original most anticipated books for 2021, which we'll have up here if you want to check that out. There is also another Darcy Coates coming out in the second half of the year. I don't remember what the title is, but I can say I want to read that one as well. But Billy Summers by Stephen King is probably the one I'm most intrigued with for the second half of the year. So there you have the most anticipated book I have for the second half of the year, Billy Summers by Stephen King. All right, question number 5. Biggest disappointment. I haven't really had a lot of disappointments this year. Not as many as last year. But I will say the one that really stands out is The Lost Village by Camilla Sten. I don't even physically own the book anymore because I absolutely hated it. There was a lot of hype with the book. I know it was in my most anticipated reads for 2021, and I didn't even finish it. I maybe got 3/4 of the way through. There was just no suspense. All the characters seemed dull as hell. It was just, I really just didn't want to read it. Again, it had good, and it was kind of like a good plot too, but it fell flat on its face in my opinion. I really didn't like it. And most of the people who I heard who did read it also kind of had the similar opinion that it really did not live up to expectation. So I'm going to have to go with The Lost Village by Camilla Sten for the biggest disappointment of 2021. All right, coming in with question number 6 is the biggest surprise. Again, honestly, I could have used Project Hail Mary for like 8 of these questions. So, but I'm not going to. I'm only going to use it for, I think it might be 2. I don't know. We'll see it. We might see it later. But biggest surprise, I'm going to say, is The Plot by Jean Hanff Corlitz. So this book was, honestly, this was a Danielle book that she recommended for me to read. This was like the thriller book of the month, like maybe 3 months ago. This was also in my top 5 books of the year so far. I think it might have been number 3 or number 4. Again, we'll have that video up here if you want to check that out. This is also in Danielle's top 5 books of the year so far. I don't know if she's got like numerical order yet, but it is in her top 5. She absolutely loved this book. So, yeah, really solid book. Again, I don't want to talk too much about it because it is a thriller book, and anything and everything could be a spoiler. So, The Plot by Jean Hanff Corlitz is the biggest surprise of 2021 for me so far. All right, question number 7. Favorite new author? I mean, Darcy Coates is an option, but the one I'm going with is Anya Alborn. So obviously the one I'm going to show you is Brother, because this is the one that pretty much started the Anya Alborn train. So I read this off of a Danielle recommendation yet again, and gave it 5 stars. I pretty much have come close to reading an Anya Alborn once a month, and I think the most recent one I had was Seed. I don't think I've read anything that was below 4. This got 5, not really expecting this to be as solid as it was, but it was a really solid book. I think this one is also in my top 5 books of the year, so if you didn't click on the link last time, it's up there again. But yes, Brother, Anya Alborn, really good book. I'm trying to remember some of the other ones I read. The Shuddering was one. That was another really good one. Seed, like I said, I just read that one recently. There's a bunch. The Devil Crept In, that was another good one. I think there might be one more, but I'm blanking on it. The Neighbors, that was another good one. Everything I've read so far has been really solid. There's a few more that I still need to read, and I'm going to, but the one I wanted to show was this one because this is pretty much what started the Anya Alborn train. So, the biggest surprise author is Anya Alborn. Alright, coming in with question number 8 is newest fictional crush. So last year I picked a car, because I really didn't have a solid pick. This year, I actually had a couple of options, and the one I'm going with is Maddie from Near the Bone by Christina Henry. So this is about a woman who's up in the woods. Obviously, it's winter time with her husband William, and she doesn't really remember much from a previous time before William. And they're up there. William has got like this really like, it's kind of like a douchey guy. And so Maddie's dealing with a bunch of crap. They eventually stumble across this dead fox in the woods. They go to a cave. They stumble across two other people, and William just turns into this big douche, hates everybody. Maddie pretty much just needs to fight to survive everything going on, and I don't want to consider her a final girl, but kind of, because she's got to do a lot of fighting to survive, and just her character is just a really cool one. I absolutely loved her personality. When you find out the truth about her, I thought it was a really cool twist, and I loved it. And there was really nobody else I really could have picked. So fictional crush, I'm going to go with Maddie from Near the Bone by Christina Henry. All right, question number 9, newest favorite character. So I'm going to go with the manga genre, and I'm going to go with One Punch Man, or Saitama. I think that's how you say it. I'm sorry, manga fans, if I mispronounce that. So I'm just going to refer to him as One Punch Man. So this dude is hilarious. He has got the ability to literally win a fight with just one punch. And I read this. It was a very fast read, and I knew manga was going to be like a quicker thing because it's kind of like comic book format. And I absolutely loved it. Him as a character was hilarious because he's just some dude trying to live his life, and unfortunately he's got this ability to kill anything or blow up anything with one punch. I think that's hilarious because he's just trying to live his life, and he also like wants to be able to fight things like normal fighting, but he can't do that. And one of this wasp woman attacks, and he literally just slaps her, and she literally just flies off the planet. It's absolutely hilarious. This character is just funny. Like, I feel bad because he's just trying to be an ordinary guy, but he literally can't, because everything he does, he can't. So, I don't think it was wasps, it was mosquitoes. It was a mosquito lady. So, but yes, favorite new character of 2021 is One Punch Man. Alright, question number 10. Book that made you cry. So I didn't, actually cry to this book, but it did really upset me. And I'm going to say Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. So this is also in my most recent reads, which we'll have up here again, which is going to be right before this one. This book, I read this in high school as a freshman, and I fell in love with this book. Obviously, I can't really spoil too much, but just in all honesty, I'll compare it to John Coffey from The Green Mile. It's a guy who's got the kindest of hearts. He just unfortunately is caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. And this guy, he's on the dumber side. Lenny and George are like two working people, and they're kind of going across the country. And George is the brains, Lenny is the brawn. Unfortunately, Lenny is not really smart in the head. He can't control himself with stuff sometimes. He unfortunately, in the process, he kills a dog because he pets it too long. He's got this bad issue where if he touches something soft, he can't let it go. They ran into an issue with this other woman in their previous job where he was feeling her dress. She freaked out. He grabbed it, and she accused him of raping her. And obviously, they got kicked out of their area, and they found a new job. What happens to him is just heartbreaking to me, and it's just sad. It's really depressing. The movie is sad. The book is sad. Obviously, I didn't cry, but it was a sad atmosphere, and I really hated to see it happen and hear it happen in the book again. So, saddest book for me so far in 2021 has been Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. Alright, question number 11. Book that made you happy. This is another one that's going to be in the recent reads, so if you haven't checked it out, check it out. But that's going to be Survive the Night by Riley Sager. So I am not going to go in depth with this book because it's going to spoil a very good amount of things with this book. Also, this just released a couple weeks ago. So I'm not going to talk that much about it. I will say I ended up giving it 5 stars. I know my Goodreads it says 4.5, but it is a 5-star book. I loved it, and the reason why it made me happy was because I can't even really say it because it spoils the book. Yeah, what I will say is Riley Sager again has given a masterpiece. I absolutely love this book. I can't. The reason why it makes me happy is because of something that happens towards the end. I cannot tell you what it is because it's A, towards the end, and B, would spoil the book, which I don't like spoiling books. So just know that Riley Sager, Survive the Night, is the book that has made me the happiest so far in 2021. Alright, now it's time for question number 12. The most beautiful book you have bought this year or received. So I'm going to do one from each category. A book I received and a book that I purchased. So a few months back, I had a friend who had some of these Stephen King cemetery dances and kind of cut me a deal on them. So the one that is most beautiful to me, I was torn between From a Buick 8 and the one that I picked, which is The Shining. Yes, I'm very biased. This is one of my favorite books of all time. The cover looks absolutely stunning. I really enjoy the artwork. Kind of get like a nice wraparound with the book. Kind of shows the hotel from the exterior, the lighting, the weird green looking mist stuff coming out of it. It's really cool, and even without the stuff, it's, again, a really stunning looking book. So, the one that I have purchased, the most beautiful book in 2021, was The Shining Cemetery Dance. The one that I'm going to have that was gifted to me is this 1945 edition of The Great Gatsby, which my dad actually had let me take when we went there one day. I think this is actually the edition that my older brother Kenneth might have started to annotate back in high school or middle school, but he stopped. There's no annotations halfway through. There's also a bunch of pages that are torn. But it's from 1945, and it looks really cool. It's very small. It's just a cool looking cover, cool spine, nice little short edition. So, favorite received book cover from 2021 is The Great Gatsby from 1945. So thank you, Dad. Alright, final question, number 13. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? My answer is everything that I have talked about. Very plain and simple, everything that's been in a TBR, everything that I've purchased. I don't have a really set list of books I need to make sure I read by the end of the year. Obviously there are books I want to read and there are some that I need to read, but I don't really have a set list. It's just anything that I've purchased, anything that has been gifted to me, anything in TBRs, anything like that. I just want to read everything. Everything I want to read. So the answer for number 13 is anything and everything on my shelves. Alright guys, so that was my mid-year book Freakout tag 2021 edition. A lot of good stuff. Again, if you're intrigued with any of the books, we'll have them linked down below. What are some answers you've got? Make sure you let me know in the comments down below because I'm intrigued to find out what some of you guys are putting for your mid-year tags. So, again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Later.